lovely ones. It's Livia. I'm an operatic soprano, voice teacher, and the founder of Singing for Self-Care. If you like health and heart-based singing, I highly suggest you click the subscribe button because I'm here for you every Monday with a new video on your most powerful method of self-care, your voice. Because remember, you and your voice are practically magic. So it is no surprise that looking after our body is one of the big cornerstones of self-care. Now, given that the diaphragm is such a huge part of not only singing, but meditative breathing and just generally stimulating the parasympathetic nervous response to make us feel relaxed, I thought I would show my diaphragm a little bit of love this month. So I decided what I would do is try out a lung trainer. So this is one I got off Amazon. It's called the Ultra Breathe. And just, disclaimer, I am not sponsored by this brand or, affiliated in any way. They have no idea who I am. So this part obviously goes into your mouth. Inside, if you can hear that, there's a little ball on the inside, and that is disrupting the flow of air as I breathe in, which is creating the resistance. And then here, there's like a screw, and as you screw clockwise, you build up the resistance, and left is obviously the other way. So before I try it out, let's talk a little bit more about the lungs and the diaphragm. So the lungs themselves don't breathe. Just think of them as these passive bags that are inside you. Their job is to oxidize hemoglobin, but they themselves don't breathe. That's the diaphragm's job. The diaphragm is attached to your bottom rib, all the way around your rib cage, and it sits up underneath your ribs like this. And it contracts downwards when you breathe in, and that change in pressure in your torso is what draws the air into your lungs. So obviously our breathing is automatic. The diaphragm works as a reflex, but we can also control how deeply we want to breathe in or out as well. So if you choose to take a deeper, fuller breath in, you're allowing your diaphragm to contract all the way down as far as it can go to draw as much air into your lungs as possible. There are other muscles associated with breathing as well. So the main one is your diaphragm, and because it's the biggest and most efficient, that's the one that we want to focus on when we're singing and meditating. The intercostal muscles also play a role as well. So they're the muscles in between your ribs. There are also muscles called accessory breathing muscles, which are just small muscle groups all over the place that can help you breathe, but they're not the most efficient way. If you ever remember a time where you've been really out of breath, really struggling for breath, you may see kind of around your neck, kind of around your shoulders, your neck, that there's some muscles around here as well that are trying to help you breathe. Typically, we want these to be relaxed and let the bigger muscles like the diaphragm and to a lesser extent the intercostal muscles to look after our breathing for us. With a stronger diaphragm muscle, we can increase our vital lung capacity. So that just means how much air we can breathe into our lungs. So when our diaphragm is strong, we can breathe nice and slow and nice and deep, and therefore our lungs are going to be filling more efficiently and fuller. So when we do this, the alveoli in the very bottom of our lungs are also filling up as well. And just like strengthening any muscle, we get better endurance as well. So there's going to be more time until our diaphragm gets fatigued. Okay, so I'm not quite sure what setting I need to use this on yet. I'm just going to give it a go and see, and adjust as needed. But basically what we do is we put it in our mouth, and then we do a sharp inhale, it says. Breathe in as hard as you can until you feel like your lungs are full, and then slowly blow out. So let's give that a go. Okay, interesting. So I will do that for a few minutes each day. Now I did notice when I was doing that I was being conscious of letting my diaphragm drop, but I could actually feel my intercostal muscles kind of towards my back be a little bit more engaged than usual. I could also feel my shoulders starting to raise, and my neck was getting a little bit tight as well. So I'm thinking either I'll do a few more and see if I can really mindfully breathe and allow those accessory muscles to relax and just use the bigger muscle groups. And if I can't, then I'm going to turn the resistance down until I get used to it. Now, just to measure my progress, I don't have a respiratory meter thing or anything like that in my house during quarantine. And I was looking at things like breath holding and stuff like that, but that can vary so much. Because I am a singer, I was actually going to use a musical phrase and test that instead. So I was thinking to myself, okay, what is like the hardest example of breath control I can possibly think about? And I did think of an example. A few years ago, I sang this piece, and I managed once to get through this phrase by freak accident in a rehearsal, and then I never was able to do it again. That was like 4 or 5 years ago. I'm willing to give it another shot. The La Preghiera from Maria Stuardo by Donizetti. And there is this phrase in it that floats on, I haven't looked at the score actually, I need to have a look, but I think it floats on an A flat, and then for about 15 or 16 seconds over the orchestra, over the chorus, and then A flat, A, B flat. I think there's a crescendo at the end of that phrase as well. So very, very difficult. It's been a few years since I've attempted, but I will try and attempt it again. And I will also attempt it again after the 30 days is up and see if my breath control has gotten better and if my lung capacity has gotten any better. That was a fluke, or if I've just gotten better at singing in the last 4 years. I mean, I hope it's the latter. It's interesting. I did make it through the phrase quite well. I think what I might try and do for when I sing it again in 30 days time is try and get a little bit more spin and color happening on that float. It's going to take a little bit more breath. It can be like, I got through it, but it can be honed a little bit. So I'll see you in 30 days time. Ciao. Hi. So it has been 30 days. Have still been going strong with this. I did manage to do it every day. Actually quite easy to incorporate into my routine, because really I was only doing it for 5 minutes, and once it's in your mouth, you can kind of do it hands-free. So I would often do it writing emails or something like that. Now, I did actually change my approach to how I was using this. What I ended up doing was turning the resistance up the entire way, but actually just slowing my inhale down. And I kind of had this thought that just say you're doing exercise, you're lifting weights at the gym or something like that. You wouldn't really have your weight and then kind of like try and move it as fast as possible. Doing a slow, controlled movement is going to be so much more effective than doing something quickly. So on the packaging, when it said to do a sharp inhale, I think maybe what they mean by that is if you inhale too slowly, the ball doesn't move. You kind of have to do a bit of an onset with the breath to get the suction to work. It's not a really super sharp kind of breaths. And I think when I was doing that kind of breath onset, it was getting my accessory muscles too involved in the process. There was a really interesting thing that was happening when I was breathing in slowly, but with a lot of resistance. And that was, one, I could be a lot more mindful of the movement and have a little bit more control over what I was doing, but I could actually feel almost like the range of motion of my diaphragm, much like if you're working out another muscle in the body. I could feel there would come a certain point where my diaphragm, as it was contracting down, it would start to almost like shake or shudder, not in a bad way, but I could feel that this was kind of at the end of the range of motion, and I could feel that it was really kind of actually starting to work the muscle at that point. And as I practiced it over the 30 days, this kind of shaky feeling became less and less, and I could feel I could actually move further into that range of movement with my diaphragm than I could before. I'm going to do a recording of this piece just for fun because it's a nice piece. I will post that over on my singing channel if you wanted to listen to the whole thing. What I want to do, because really what this video was about, is conditioning muscles, conditioning the diaphragm, and seeing how that helps the body and how that helps singing. So this is something that needs to be actually measured somehow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slow down the la preghiera and see how far I can extend this phrase until I just can't get through it anymore. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a metronome on and just do it to a click so I don't have to worry about slowing down a backing track over and over. And yeah, we'll see just how slowly we can do this. Okay, I think I'm finally starting to loosen. I think 60 is kind of around where I'm really starting to struggle now. I'm going to try one more time and see if it's possible. Wish me luck! So it's getting to a point where it sounds bad. It's not how long you can hold a note that makes it like worth something. It's about communication and the art behind it. Okay, so I think that was a really interesting experience. I think it really kind of was interesting to see just kind of what happens when you take it to an extreme. And I'm sure that if I keep using this, because obviously the phrase did get a lot longer in time. It wasn't the most beautiful sounding thing in the world, but it was possible. I think I will keep this as part of my routine. I have a few more vocal experiments coming up on my YouTube schedule. I think that they will complement with this really nicely. Building your body in a way that's kind of the most efficient way for singing, and I mean, looking after your body is obviously a big part of self-care as well. Do I think the lung trainer was worth it? Yes, I do. It's not expensive at all. The thing I enjoyed about it the most was, yes, I do think it helped improve my lung capacity, but something I did really enjoy about it was just the new level of body awareness that it gave me. I would say in general, the whole exhalation process felt more stable because I had a heightened level of body awareness of what muscles were being used. So let me know in the comments below. Do you think this is something that you would ever try for yourself? Are you a runner? Are you an athlete? Are you a singer? Or are you just someone who wants to show your diaphragm a little bit of love? Let me know. Alright, thanks for hanging out with me, and I will see you next Monday. Bye!